Show me the crypto. Show me the crypto. Show me the crypto.
In a world on the brink of disruption, two men will bring you clarity by interviewing some of the most intelligent and influential names in the blockchain world. Welcome to Show Me the Crypto with your hosts, Wade Patterson and Ulf Lonergan.
Well, hi there, and welcome to Show Me the Crypto. My name's Wade Patterson.
And I'm Ulf Lonergan.
We're a couple of friends from Canada who love talking about cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, and we're happy you're along for the ride. Whether you're a crypto virgin or you know your way around the block, we hope our interviews with some of the most intelligent and influential people in the space help deliver you with value. And on this episode, we're joined by actress, UN ambassador, and crypto lover, Amanda Cerny. With early dreams of being in the CIA, Amanda's focus shifted to becoming an actress as a young adult. But while finding management in LA seemed impossible, Amanda paved her own way by creating content and building an audience, first on YouTube, then on Vine. Today, millions of people follow Amanda on every social media platform. Amanda, welcome to Show Me the Crypto.
I love it. Thanks for the cool intro.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, we're really stoked to have you on. And I want to start out with this. So we're a modest size crypto focused YouTube channel, and yet you're spending time dedicated to chat crypto with us. And you're also doing things like creating explainer videos such as what is an NFT to your audience. So my question that I want to start off is, why are you focusing so much time and energy on this space?
I'm interested. And that's basically it. I started to get more and more into crypto myself, and it's kind of a rabbit hole that you go into and then you just keep going and going, and it's hard to get out of. So that's where I am. And the more conversations I have, the more I learn and the more I grow in the space as well. And even it's better for my investments too. So
that's awesome. Well, we're excited to talk with you about a bunch of all things crypto today. But before we get too far down that path, obviously Wade gave some highlights in the intro. But for those of our listeners who don't know, I mean, you've got 50 million followers across all of the various social media channels. You've been a Playboy Playmate. You've got a huge following. You're known for your comedic videos. And I could go on and say more, but I'd love if you could explain a little bit about your story just in general as far as like a career goes and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, I've always been super spontaneous and just doing the things that I've been interested in, and that's led to a lot of success for me. So yeah, I was at college at Florida State. I was watching The Girls Next Door. I wanted to be in the CIA. I was a black belt, did karate my whole life. And I was like, yeah, it's perfect for me. And then randomly was seeded with the idea of becoming a playmate. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to work for the government. And then I was like, oh, wait, that's The Girls Next Door. And I just randomly was bored in my apartment. And I was like, all right, I'll just send in bikini photos, see what happens. And then they emailed back. And then I ended up going out to LA on a free trip, and I had to pay for everything in my life. So I was like, a free trip to California. I've always wanted to go, and I've always loved traveling. That brought me out to California. I did the test shoot, stay at the mansion, met Hef, met all the girls. Super cool experience. Didn't think anything would come out of it. And I was like, all right, like so many girls are going for this. Why are they going to choose me? And I go back and they ended up choosing me. And then, okay, now I'm a Playmate centerfold. And then I moved down to Miami. I started doing live EDM event hosting. And I was like, well, creatively, that's kind of limiting for me. So I'd rather go out to LA. I've always had fun doing plays and acting. And I was like, let me just fully go into the acting world, take classes and just study and better myself there, and then look for agency management. And then that was what made me go out to LA. And in the process of looking for the agency management and taking classes, doing improv, I really wanted to focus on comedy, one, because I loved it and it's what I enjoyed consuming, the content I enjoyed. And all my friends happened to be comedians as well. So I'm like, this is great. And it was also the polar opposite of being a playmate. So I was like, all right, self-deprecating comedy. This is a great way for me to rebrand myself. Even though at the time I became a playmate, it was never really, social media wasn't really a thing at the time. So I didn't really have a following for being a playmate. So I was like, perfect. So then I started looking for different ways to build a reel for myself because I needed a reel to put me in film and TV. This is going in depth, guys. Like,
I love it. I love it.
Please do.
We're a long form show.
Okay. And so I started creating my own content just to help myself build a reel. And I didn't really know how to edit or film. So I had friends that did YouTube and I was like, hey, anything, I'll work for free. Just like, let me just build a reel for myself. And in the process of doing that, Vine came out. And I was like, this is the perfect platform for me to start learning how to do my own storytelling and just like 6-second videos. So I started playing around on there and those started getting views. And then I'm like, okay, this is something. And I started continuously making videos all the time and every single day. And then discovering other people that were being featured on the popular page as well. That's what they called it at the time too. And then starting to collaborate with each other and really growing an audience for comedy bits on Vine and then moving it onto larger platforms, Instagram, YouTube, and just being across all platforms and not putting, which is also very important in investing, not putting all your eggs in one basket and just kind of just being across all platforms, which led to longevity for me. And also success in acting and finding agency out in LA and management whom you've met and talked to. It was a process and like a blessing to finally see. So and that all kind of, so it's always a process. Like you always have, I think it's just keeping an open mind, always learning and being willing to learn. Is going to lead to a lot of growth and just doing what you're passionate about and have fun doing. And that's what I've continued to do throughout my career so far. And I've always been interested in investing. Like even when I was like 14, 15, and I was working like 2 different jobs, I was like, all right, I'm making all this money and I've always had fun with numbers. So I'm like, okay, I'm making this, like I want to do something with it because it just sitting in the bank account is not really doing anything for me. And I have to buy a car, I have to pay for college, I have to do all these things. And when I need like 20 jobs. And then I started investing in the stock market once the crash happened as well. So it was great. Bad.
I was like, oh.
but it was great
I get you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't cancel me yet. And then so I just put, like at that time, you could just really just put it in different things and being like 14, 15, still being interested in that, that led to a lot of growth. And I saw this success there and that made me study it more. And I've always just been interested in investing since then, and whether it's in real estate, and then crypto was kind of brought to me through my boyfriend. So I think I invested in Bitcoin like 5 years ago.
Wow.
And
that's actually impressive, like to have been in it that long.
OG.
Already. Yeah.
It's not really though, because I invested in it then because he told me to, and I was like, it's good. He's like, it's good. It's good. And I'm like, all right, I'll put like it wasn't like a big amount for me, but I think I bought 1 Bitcoin and I was like, all right, cool. And the price was probably like 14,000 or something at the time. I think. I don't know.
It would have been, well, if it was that long ago, 1,400 probably more.
No, 4 years ago, like during the bull cycle of 2017.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right. 14 grand.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
Okay.
I'm wrong.
No, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But
No, my math is off.
It was 4 to 5 years ago, around 14,000, I believe. Don't kill me. And then I put it in, and then I was like, all right. Like a few years went by and I was like, I lost money, and then it went up, and I was like, I'm not even going to look at this. And then, so what year are we in now? 2021, 2020. I looked at it around October, and it was like, I hope I'm right with my timestamps, but it was like 400 or 500 above the 14,000. So I was like, okay, let me just take my money out because I've held it here for so long. I know nothing about this, and it didn't do anything for me over that period of time. I'm out. And then
right before blast off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it went up. But what the great thing about that is I missed out on a massive gain. But for having one Bitcoin, it's whatever. It's a good learning curve. But it made me interested in the space, and it made me want to learn more about it. So I understood it more. So I understood my investments more, and seeing that volatility and that potential for that gain made me go like, what is this? Yeah. And then I started looking into all these different coins, and then I looked into all these different exchanges. And I started looking, and the main exchange I started using was Binance US. And that's what got me into BNB. So I started looking, and this is probably January. Mm-hmm. So I'm very new to crypto, but I love it. And it's so much fun, even with it being down entirely right now. But then again, is it really down? Because perspective, you look a year ago, we're still up by like, I don't know, 1,000% on some of these coins. And you're just like, oh, everything's down right now. It's like, you just got to be in it for the long term and go into coins that you truly believe in. But I'm kind of going on a tangent here, and I'll step back and let you guys.
No, I love it. It's such a good perspective to have. One of the things you mentioned there, Amanda, was Vine. And there was a tweet that you put out probably a couple months ago now, but you said that modern day crypto feels like it did in the Vine early days. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I was talking more about the actual feeling. Like a lot of my tweets, I think it and I'm like, blah, and I just throw it up and it's out there. And that's what I think Twitter's for. But I meant that it felt like a lot of people, I remember during Vine, there were a lot of companies that didn't understand the platform. There were a lot of people that were kind of pushing it away because they were like, okay, this is silly. These creators aren't going to last long. They're not going to be around forever. They're not going to do things that are bigger than this. And for me, it's the same idea with crypto. And that, the more I would mention it to, I don't know, my just like older relatives or like just people around me that aren't really into finances in general, which everybody should be, because it's like fundamentally is so important for our lives, all of our lives. But with crypto investing, it's just everybody's very push off, like, it's too weird. It's not going to last. And that reaction is what reminded me of Vine. And that's what got me so excited, because that told me it's still very new and there's still so much more opportunity for growth. And, even though I'm late, I'm still really early.
Mm-hmm. You actually entered crypto a little bit before I would have. I think maybe I was aware of it when you got it, but I didn't buy anything right away. And this guy actually introduced me, and so I bought in near the top and watched the fallout. And it's funny. What's that?
Recently?
No, sorry, like at the same time about that. So like late 2017 when it had peaked around 20K. And then, seeing the bear market that came after that, it's just funny. We've talked to a lot of people who entered around that same time, and how people perceive crypto after going through that, I feel is a lot different for those who are just entering in like maybe the last few months, because it's like you said, with perspective on a big dip that's happened in the last few weeks where, it's a big dip, especially so if you entered in the last few months. But if you have been around for 5 years, no matter how little or much you were involved, if you've seen how big these swings can be and how long it can take for potential recoveries to happen, you kind of have a different outlook, especially because if you're in it long enough, I think there's even a stat, like if you're follow Bitcoin for at least 4 years at any given time, and your investment is always in the positive. There's some statistic like that. So yeah,
it's come out recently, because like I've been hearing that like, I think my boyfriend even said that to me today. I'm like, that must have like.
I think it's one that
Yeah.
people like to really promote on Twitter. It's like,
Yeah.
check out how good this is. Here's a killer stat. But
it's a good stat though. I like that.
It is.
'Cause what is the other one for the stock market? It's like 10 years.
yeah,
The
some
stock
a little
market.
crazier. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
S&P.
I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you about, you mentioned you started utilizing Binance US as a trading platform. So, and you've done some trading by the way of stocks. Have you been kind of like doing more of that? Is it different for you trading on crypto? As far as I understand, your passion is in swing trading mostly. If you can just tell us a little bit about that, that'd be interesting to dive into.
I mean, that's what I define it as, but I'm swinging like,
Yeah.
I'm in, I'm out. But,
Well, it's not so hard to swing trade in crypto because there's so many highs and lows. So.
So much fun. But also it requires a lot of, I think is if you're going into the coins knowing that they have longevity, it's fun and it's okay to do. But if you're going into these meme coins that just could be a rug pull and then you're just in it and it goes to zero and then you're screwed. Then there goes your swing trading.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm halted right now in a lot of my swing trades because of where the market is right now. And if I just rather hold and wait than just try to time the market or time the tweets of influential people that affect the market. But which makes it so volatile and so interesting. And I think that's why crypto is also a great opportunity for new investors, just to like, even if you're not investing your own income and your own finances, which by the way, like not a financial advisor, but I always just say people should be investing money that they have that's just like they're not going to need it tomorrow. They're not going to need it to pay their bills. It's just expect it to be gone. And just that's the mindset if you're just like buying in and out and doing the swing trading and all that, because you could get stuck in a trade for 5 years. Like you get stuck in a trade for 2 days or 1 day or an hour and just make, 2x sometimes. So it's like, it's very volatile and it can go up and it can go down. But with always saying that disclaimer, I forget what the question was or where I was going with this, but
I was just wondering about swing trading in general. And by the way, I realized I said it's easy to do swing trading. I didn't mean it's easy to succeed as swing trading, just so you know, everybody listening. But
for me, I stick to the coins that I believe are still undervalued and have a lot of longevity and a lot more to do. That way I know if I get stuck in a trade, I'm not losing money. I'm just holding at that point. And now I'm a long-term investor, like that's kind of, I'm always winning with that mindset, and I don't get stressed out. If there's people that are trading too that, they're noticing it's just like, it's maybe not for you, like any amount of stress like that. I don't know if that's worth any amount of money. Like that's your health, that's your overall wellness. Like you got to just be a little bit just free spirited and just have your convictions and go with that. But I mainly do it with BNB. I've actually started because through swing trading, and I have so much fun doing it. I don't know if it's bad to call it like an addiction, but it's really fun for me. But I do know when I first started swing trading BNB, I would have made over 6x of just holding. And within swing trading, I made about 3x. Right. So it just shows that you cannot time it. It's like if you believe it's going up, you're better off holding. But for me, I got so much enjoyment and woos out of it and watching it's like that it was worth it for me. But then I found other coins and then I just started to invest more and more into the market and looking into different coins as well. To where now I'm holding my BNB and I'm staking my BNB so I can just get the interest from that instead of it sitting in my bank account because I know that's going to go up. But, or that's my conviction. So.
Nice.
What are in terms of your crypto portfolio and like some of the coins that you are interested in, what are some of those?
Bitcoin, just for value, store value. Ethereum, I feel like it has a long way to go, and it has some of the most utility out of all the other coins out there, whether it's NFTs. The only thing that pushes me more towards BNB at the moment over Ethereum is just the transaction fees. Ethereum transaction fees are 35x BNB. So for me, in doing like my swing trades and it's much better for me to utilize BNB than I would Ethereum. So I'd rather hold more BNB and get my discounts on my trades than holding Ethereum. So Ethereum is something I would just hold like long-term, just stake that for Ethereum 2 or ETH2, whatever, for the proof of stake when that comes around and just get the interest off that. But so that's the only thing. But I think my concerns with BNB would be that in the future, okay, right now it's great. It has so much growth potential. I do feel it is undervalued, but I feel like it's financial, right? I'm getting a way better rates on my trades. I'm saving a lot of money through that, and it's faster transactions. So I love the coin for that. And I feel like a lot of newcomers are going to look for those things when they're picking which platforms they're going to be on, and hence the growth. And also they burn coins, which the less coins in circulation, the more value the coin has. So if they're burning coins every quarter, then the value is just going to keep going up and up over time, which is great. Same thing with Bitcoin. There's a limited, was it how many?
21 million.
Yeah. So limited amount of Bitcoin available, hence the store value. And the fact that they're doing that with BNB as well with the burning is great incentive for the value to go up and for it to reach more value over time because they're still going to be burning. But yeah, the only concern would be is the centralization of the coin, which I know a lot of, I think more seasoned crypto investors are concerned about. I think the new people that are into crypto are looking for the financial gains and the short-term realized gains, and because they're learning and they're experiencing it and they're seeing those new stories of the DOGE millionaire and like all those things, and so they're going to look where they save the most, which is going to bring the value of the coin up. But I think over time, and I don't know how long-term this is, the decentralization of a coin is going to probably outweigh the transaction fees.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point you make because, as you said, a lot of people are in this as investors first. They want to make money. And when things like transaction fees are hindering your potential to make money because it's just eating away at any time you want to make a trade or buy or anything like that, then naturally they look for those other projects, those other tokens that have minimal fees. But if we paint a picture of a future where some of these problems have been solved and you can have the best of both worlds, you can have a decentralized platform and you can still have, minimal or next to no fees on your trades, then I think it will be natural for people to want to shift back over to those more true decentralized crypto projects. Time will tell, I guess. But I had another question for you around, you mentioned you first invested in, I think 2016 you mentioned, but you were kind of like just sat on it until it made its price back. Then you sold, and really, you've only been actively in crypto for the last, whatever it is, 9 months or so, and
probably even less than that.
Less than that. Okay, so less than that. So my question here is for someone who is really relatively new. Where do you go to educate yourself and learn about these things? What's your primary outlet?
That's the hardest part is like your sources, right? Oh my God, if I listen to half the texts I've gotten and half the it's just, I would have lost so much money. So it's like always it's to do your own research, but then people stop and ask, okay, where do I do my research? Well, I guess it's at people in the space that you can see the success stories behind, and they have that track record. I think that's helpful. I think I look for transparency and honesty in the people that I'm following too. And, sometimes you can smell bullshit really fast, and sometimes people don't have that ability, which is unfortunate. And then also it's like, I just use multiple sources of information. I just don't use one. I don't think it's ever safe to do just one, and that's your strategy for anything. Like even today I had a plumber come out, and then he gave me a bid for running my plumbing line to my dock just to see. And I think he quoted me like $5,000 to run it around the other side of the house. And then I had another guy come because I have an existing plumbing line, and the other guy told me it doesn't work. And he told me, no, it works. It'll cost like $300. And then I had another guy come and tell me it's going to be $20,000 to run it from the, so It's like, and then I'm learning along the way too, because all of them had interesting points, but I'm kind of combining all the information, what I see truth in and what I believe from here, what I see in here, and I'm putting it all together and then making the best decision from these different sources of information. So I'll read articles, I'll read, from CNBC articles or whatever. And then I'll go on Twitter, consume some of that, text some of my friends that run different funds, consume some of that. I'll just see and a lot of the meme coins and everything, if I'm ever looking into those, knowing what those are, knowing the risk involved with those as well. Like I'll look at what the marketing is. Cause for me, it's a lot of these meme coins, they'll have utility or potential in the future, and based on who's backing them as well, because I like to look into that also. I'm like, okay, DOGE, we got Mark Cuban, we got Elon. Elon's not that favorable right now in the crypto community because of his tweets, but hey, you got smart people behind certain coins that I'm like, all right, well, if they're putting their reputation and their brand behind this coin, let me see what they can do with it. Let me invest a little belief in there and just see what that turns out to be. So it's like, that's kind of how I look at different things. And I also just use my own logic. So,
Ulf, do you realize that our audience has either been watching or listening to this episode for 20 minutes?
20 minutes? They should probably subscribe.
Yeah, they should subscribe, and they should like and comment and hit that notifications bell.
Oh, and did you tell them about the NFTs?
That's right. We have our own NFT for our OG supporters. This is a way you can support our show, help us bring you continual great content. Information on that is below. So, Amanda, you mentioned there some of the meme coins, and just in general, you've had different tweets, and I've heard in interviews you've talked a little bit about Doge, but what are your thoughts specifically on Doge and its potential? And also, when you do put out your thoughts on those things, you're a very public figure. Do you receive hate? Do you receive praise online? Do you mind talking about that?
Yeah, it's the internet. I think anybody on the internet receives hate and love and cries themselves to sleep some nights. What the internet does. But I don't know. I've been online for like a decade, so I have like the thickest skin. But I am aware that some people just listen and they just do, and they don't do any due diligence. And a lot of people don't like putting their minds there. They just want to just be like, I got all this going on. What do I do? Okay, cool. It's like me with my boyfriend. And like 5 years ago when he was like, do Bitcoin. I'm like, what? Okay, you sure? I mean, it's going to be good. All right. And then I'm like, and throw it in. But that's so risky to do. And I always do disclaimers, and everybody has different investment strategies and investment and plans and for their finances. And you may need it in a year, I may need it in 20 years, and those are completely different plans from one another. So I think at looking at what people are talking about, and a lot of times tweets are so vague and a lot of them are cryptic, like as we've seen. So it's like, you gotta just take it as a little burst of information. And this is what I hope my audience does. This is what I say all the time. So if they're just picking which pieces of information to listen to what I'm tweeting, then that's on them, because I even post like, okay, these are my immediate thoughts. This is something, I am not a financial advisor, like at all. I am new to this and I am learning and growing with it, but I have been making smart choices in it and I'm proud of those choices. And I like to talk about things, and I even talk about things that I'm very transparent with everything. So that's what I hold pride in, especially like when it comes to other people's finances and their hard-earned money. Like, I don't want them losing that or have any resentment towards me because of that. But sometimes it's inevitable. If I put one tweet up about DOGE and DOGE goes down 10% the next day, but that next day I would get probably death threats and tweets. And then the next day it's up to 200x. I get no tweets, but they're thanking me internally. Like, so it's like, okay, I don't let those affect me, but I make sure I'm doing my part in just making those disclaimers now and then, here and there, but not being overly annoying I even put it in my bio. So
what are your thoughts on NFTs? NFTs have been a huge story as far as they've been all over the headlines, especially, I guess, pretty much since the start of the year. This year, there was some major sales, Beeple's $69 million NFT, and it's just been a huge talking point. What are your thoughts on NFTs?
I think they're great. I think there's a lot of noise to sift through, but that goes back to coins as well. It's like there's so many new coins popping up every day, but you really have to look at the artists behind them, the utility behind them. And art is based, it's not for everybody. It's certain people are going to value things more than other people. It's just like, trading cards. So for me, it goes back to that. And there's different projects that show, like, there's different, some projects that come out. I'm just like, okay, this is very like a low hanging fruit kind of project being launched. But then for me, like, my first NFT purchase was in CryptoPunks. And I was like, okay, this is a really good one, even though I'm not in it for the art of this CryptoPunk, although now I am. I kind of fell in love with her. But in the beginning, I was like, this makes sense to me, using my own logic. Okay, there's limited supply. There's rarity in all different, which gives value. And then it started at nothing, which I think is really, really cool for the NFT community. It's starting at nothing and people determining the value of what that is over time and building upon that value. And okay, now it's worth, like, I bought mine. I don't even remember. I think I bought it around like 70 something thousand, and it's literally pixel art. And I bought that, and then I got an offer like a month or two later of, I think it was like 40,000 more from when I bought it.
Wow.
So, and it wasn't during that spike of NFTs, but also at the same time, it's one of the first. So, and it was a proof of concept that actually turned into something. And the fact that there's a limited number available, and just like all the people that bought into it, and like just seeing the different community that has built around it, I'm like, all right, this is a solid investment. I'm going to hold this for a while and, see if I ever see a good, and it's actually a lot of fun to show people what I bought for $70,000. I'm like, look, and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. I own her. She's awesome. But it is like art in the sense to where you're carrying it around with you and being able to show, the concept of it all. So it's just really be particular about the projects that you're buying into, knowing that it's going to grow in value over time, because some of these projects that get launched, you're buying in at the top dollar value that it's ever going to be. And then might get traded for lower over time. So it's just investment choices, just like you would make with artists and art pieces that you would put into your home.
Will you ever launch your own NFT project?
Yes, but I may or may not be soon. But I'm also just like anything I do, I just want to make sure it has a ton of value, a ton of utility and longevity. And I'm working on all those pieces on the back end. And I'm not just going to scribble something and be like, here's my NFT, buy it for $10 million. Thanks. Like, I'm out. Like, I'm here for the long term.
I think that's really cool. And when you mention utility, it seems like, NFTs are something that I just became aware of in like December or something like that. I've been following crypto for the last 4 or 5 years, but it's cool seeing the evolution. It's clear that some of these outrageous prices and that kind of thing, that's probably not sustainable, especially with more NFTs coming on the market and that type of thing. But it's almost like there's this evolution in what you said, the utility, and the fact that an NFT is not, maybe it just started as a piece of art and that kind of thing. But now with the smart contracts behind it, all of a sudden more and more is being offered, or maybe that NFT includes an experience, a one-time thing. Maybe it includes something physical that you get in the mail as well. And so is that kind of what you mean when you talk about utility, like more than just the art?
Yeah, I love adding real world use into NFTs. I think it is a great way to combine the crypto space with people who aren't as interested in the space as well. And it's a great introduction into it. And also, who doesn't love like an art piece that you have on your phone that gives you discounts on things, that gives you access to things other people don't have access to, or experiences other people will never experience. So I really like that.
I think it's really an interesting evolution of blockchain as far as like a use case goes to have these NFTs. Most of our conversation up till now has been about how people tend to get into crypto for financial gains. And that's still true in a sense for a lot of NFTs. But NFTs are kind of also like an outlier in that that's not necessarily always the case. There's also the collectible aspect where you could truly just be a collector at heart, and you might genuinely love the artist who put this NFT together, and you might want to display their art and really be the owner of that. And maybe one day you will sell, but that might not even be in your mind right now. And it's not really the same when you go to buy like, Bitcoin. Nobody's collecting Bitcoin as a collectible. That's not the point of it, right? That's not a real use case. So it's so interesting to just see blockchain evolve, and especially when it comes to tying. This is another area that like those other types of crypto doesn't do, which is tying real world experiences potentially to NFTs, right? So and there's a bit of trust there, right? Where part of crypto, if you go back to Bitcoin, is that there's this trustlessness about it. That is one of its features. And here where we get to NFTs, where the creator, you may have to have trust with the creator if they're going to say, buy this NFT, and part of what you get with that, you prove that you're the owner and you get so-and-so experience. And I just think that's also fascinating, and how people can work that into their NFT projects. I'm excited to see what you introduce with whatever's coming down the line.
And like how soon it's coming. Like, is this like next week, couple weeks?
No, it's going to take time. I've been working on it for some time, but it's definitely going to take a lot more time.
Have you invested in any or purchased any NFTs that included an experience?
I haven't. I've just been observing a lot because there's so much going on. And it's like, and by the way, this isn't my full-time like thing, like crypto. And so it's a lot to keep up with. And when you're normally like, even in the stock market, when you're doing day trading, you're paying attention to all the news stories that are coming out, earnings reports. Like there's just so many the CEOs, what's going on in the back end of it's like so many different world events that can affect the market. And if you're not fully invested in doing that every single day, it's a lot riskier to do, and it's a lot harder to successfully do. So luckily, like, I'm surrounded by different people that do things like this every single day, and they live and breathe it, and I get those different sources of information as well. But it's not my full, I wish I could get to a point to where it could be, but I'm also like a creative, and I still like to create. I still like to do my acting and, travel here and there. So it's like, it's hard for me to make smart financial decisions in all the NFT projects that are being launched. But the ones that I do invest in, I'll be sure that they are concrete. And I'm pretty, I have no worries with any of my investments.
On that note, for someone like yourself, who's a creator, who has a huge following, have you done any research or tried out any of these social media platforms that are tied back to a blockchain project?
There was the Omi platform, Ecomi, which is cool. Like, I really like the idea of NFTs and gaming as well. Again, I wish I had more time to do gaming. I really just do have to prioritize my time here. And if, that's like something I was starting to do gaming. I was like, all right, if I need to be on a schedule, I have to have this many subs. And apparently that's not what you say in gaming. You're just game because you're passionate about it. Almost got canceled for that. So it's like, yeah, I really love the use case of NFTs in a digital world, in a digital space. I think that's so much fun. One of my favorite games playing when I was growing up was Sims. Like, I love The Sims. And I also loved Grand Theft Auto. I played that all the time too. And, even the idea of just skins and everything in Fortnite and the gaming, like, I think NFTs have been around, the idea of them, but now really just like applying them to like a blockchain technology is just really exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing when you start to talk about like what that could look like, because Fortnite skins is a perfect example of people are paying it, but they don't own that thing. It's just like a digital representation where if you could have ownership and sell it on a secondary market, it really opens it up. Amanda, one of the things I want to ask you about, so you talked about getting in kind of late 2017, early 2018 at the height of really, the crypto market, or like where it was pretty high, Bitcoin. And then we had this huge crash. And now we're kind of seeing this bull run again. Who knows? We've had a pullback, a bit of volatility in the last month. But do you buy into this theory of like a 4-year cycle, or do you have any opinion on it? What are your thoughts there when it comes to the Bitcoin cycles?
I'm still bullish.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like we have more to go. And it's more so we're just going to see a little bit more of a downward trend. This is my prediction. Again, I know nothing, but I just see we're going to see more of a downward trend, and then, it'll surprise us, and then everybody's just going to be hopping on as soon as they can. And like, for ease of mind, I know peace of mind, I know a lot of people are stressed out about where the market is right now, especially the people that are new to the crypto space, and it's like a big turnoff, and they probably just want their money back and they want out. And it's scary because they're not used to it. They're not used to that volatility. Like, the people that have been around in crypto, like you guys, and have faced like a bear market already and see what that looks like. And then the feeling of a bull market is great. And then if it goes back into that, it's just like, it's again, doing your research on your investments. And it's like, I'm invested in it. I believe this has a lot more upside to it, and it has a long way to go. If I just keep all my investments where they are now, 10 years from now, I'm going to look at it and be like, yeah, awesome. Like, I have zero worries about my investments in the crypto space, even though it's so volatile, so up and down right now. I think overall, and in the long run, there's a lot of really intelligent people behind crypto, behind these new projects that support it, that are investing their own capital into it. And that's smart money. So I like to think I'm some smart money too with my investments, and I put it to where it's going to just show me some great returns. But again, it's like not a financial advisor, but I just think if you don't sell, you didn't lose. And hopefully those are in coins that have been around and have great white papers, like they have great use cases, and like for Bitcoin, for just being the decentralization of Bitcoin outside of like the whole mining argument and everything. I just think if you're invested in those, some of the top coins, and that's what you're kind of holding on to, I would personally just hold and not sell at a loss, because there's no reason to, because I feel like it's just really going to go up and up and up. But if it just so happened to be one of those meme coins that have been around for 3 months and then crashed down to $0, I don't know.
You know what, though? That's what happens when people look for the get rich quick scheme and they go investing in a bunch of shit coins, hoping that one of them's just going to explode. I mean, if you hang on to those too long, and maybe you'll get lucky, but that goes back to doing your own research, doing your due diligence, investing in the tried and true projects, the ones with solid backers that
the test of time.
You hang on long enough, it does work. I mean, I've seen it. I held on through the bear market last time around, and here I am today, and it's been good. So
your hands are stronger than mine. I didn't know enough, and I was like, take it back.
Yeah.
Hey, but like you said, I think it possibly blessing in disguise, right? That you went through the process of learning. That's cool.
So what do you think about the crypto community? You know, what are some of the best parts and the worst parts now that you've been involved in it a little bit, at least through Twitter? And Twitter is where I think the majority of the crypto community hangs out anyhow.
Yeah. And then if not, it's going to be like their own Discord or Telegram groups that are biased within each other.
Yeah, completely biased.
Yeah. Yes. I think it can be very supportive and uplifting, and in trying times, you really see the volatility of the community as well. But that goes in any space. You know, what's kind of cool about crypto is that it is so volatile that you really do weed out like a lot of different people from like your circles of where you keep in, because then you're like, okay, that's how they reacted in these moments. This is what they did in these up moments. So it's kind of cool in that way. But the internet in general, the communities online, I think overall they're really supportive. But now we're in an interesting phase with like different communities attacking other communities. And I think I made it like a tweet about this today. And it was just comparing it to sports a little bit. Like, like I felt like I was like, I didn't know like finances would be like sports, or investing in crypto would be like sports. Like, I feel like I'm getting yelled at for picking two teams that are now like rivals against each other, like with Dogecoin and Bitcoin right now. I'm like, I want both to win, guys. Like, this is our store of value. Let's keep that there, and let's have a Dogecoin to the moon. So why can't we have both? But it's just like it gets competitive when it shouldn't be. So
I hear you. Yeah, that's actually one of the parts that frustrates me so much. And I wish we could all just see that no matter what project we're talking about, it's all like all growth is good growth for the whole of crypto. We don't need to be attacking different projects and play favoritism so hard. It's frustrating.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And it just makes it seem all less legitimate overall the more it's done, and it just hurts all the communities. So I feel like constructive things are great, but purely things that are like detrimental to oh my word.
Projects.
Nice.
I would say that's like a tough word to say, but
I'm gonna cry. I think that's one thing about crypto is I have like a billion thoughts that pop into my head at one time. And I think I'm on to something solid. And then like a new idea will come in and I'm like, that's good. Yeah. So it's just so much, because there's so much to take in and there's so much to learn about all these different coins, all these different projects, and the overall concept of crypto and the purpose of crypto, that makes it super exciting for me, because I'm like, I just go on like tangents and I investigate, and I need to know whys and I need to know hows. And that's just how I am as a human, thankfully. Like I go deep into it. But with that, it's like, I think it's important to hear all these criticisms of these coins and of these communities. I think it is beneficial, but to the point to where it is just bringing other ones completely down with news that has already been around for a long time. I'm talking very vaguely, and I think it's pretty obvious. I'm like talking about like Elon also with Bitcoin, and recently posting the heartbreak with Bitcoin. But I still like to think he's a very intelligent man and kind of has strong plans and strategies behind what he's doing. My theory is that he, with his renewable energy, everybody's saying Tesla is like one of the main values of Tesla is the renewable energy, the component of it. And I'm like, well, maybe there's some like back end stuff going on where they don't want the renewable energy to be Tesla products. And then he's like, heartbreak Bitcoin. And then now it's going to be his way into the renewable energy of being all the renewable energy for the mining for Bitcoin. So I have all these like conspiracy theories in my head. I love it. Now.
I like where your conspiracy theory heads at, because that makes sense to me. Like, honestly, I do think Elon's got something up his sleeve. We'll wait and see for sure.
But the cryptic tweets, I mean, the cryptic tweets though, it's just crazy still at this point. Like, I wonder how long it's going to go where it just keeps impacting the market so severely every time he tweets. But it's entertaining, if nothing else. So
maybe it'll make it stronger. I think a lot of times people like to have leaders, and they like to, which in a decentralized world, who's the leader? Like, so they look at this one person and what they say is gold, and then they react to it, and that's kind of like centralizing the decentralization of a coin. So it's just all very crazy. But I think, Tesla's invested. We got MicroStrategy invested heavily, like into, it's a lot of money, a lot of big whales into these communities, and it's going to be even more whales. And hopefully we get more retail investors in there that can just kind of like level it out. So when these whales move, it's less impactful for the communities. And I guess that's the overall goal, is like get people used to the volatility and, into the money-making business of crypto, and like securing and beating those future inflations, of our fiat. But at the same time, it's like, we just need more retail investors just so we all don't sink whenever a whale moves. But yeah.
Amanda, this has been an awesome conversation, and we appreciate what you're doing, because to your point about getting more retail investors and that kind of thing, I mean, for us, we're so locked into crypto Twitter, and you assume that the world's talking about all these things. But if you go out and talk to random people, it's still shocking how few people actually know much about, or even the people who are invested in crypto, it's, Bitcoin and maybe Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they haven't really dug into it. So it's so important. Like I said, it's been an awesome conversation, but we like to end every episode of Show Me the Crypto with a 3-question segment called You Had Me at Crypto. So Alf's going to ask you those questions.
All right, Amanda, are you ready for this?
Yes.
All right, don't worry, they're not too hard.
Okay.
Who's your favorite person to follow in the crypto space?
Right now, it's probably Elon, because he's so influential. So
that's fair.
Yeah, fair. I think that's like we ask these questions every time, and I think Elon's probably the number one, which we've had at least a few times. Yeah,
he gives the most movement.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And they're interesting. They're always interesting.
Yeah.
So
and their memes.
Yeah, and their memes. Yeah. All right. Question 2: what will the price of Bitcoin be 10 years from now?
10 years. I'll say in 10 years, I'm going to watch this back and be like, yeah, you were right.
We need this. We need a meme of you right now with all the math around.
Yeah. Okay, 350.
All right, nice.
10 years.
I could go for that.
It goes by fast.
Yeah.
Like I'm being conservative.
Yeah. All right. And what is the most underrated coin or project in crypto?
For now, I'll say knowing what I know. All right. For the unknown, I'll say DOGE. For the unknown, because I know things are going on, but I don't know about it. All right. But for the now, what I do know, BNB.
Cool.
Awesome.
Good picks.
Love it. Amanda, well done on those questions. And thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Show Me the Crypto.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Guys. Thanks for being interested in what I have to say.
Thank you for listening to Show Me the Crypto. Please make sure to subscribe as well as rate and review this podcast.